Hello. Hey, hi, it's Twi. Hope you guys are doing good. Happy Friday. Hope you guys have been having a good week. It's been a bit. Today, I just feel like chatting it up, nothing crazy. So we're gonna do some more, Powerwash Simulator. What do we got for jobs? Playground is kind of fun. Let's do that. 600. Big money. What does it say? Dirt Finder. Is that my name? Is my name Dirt Finder? I've got a frankly ridiculous situation on my hands. You see, some of the local children have been coming down with a curious and unsightly form of dermatitis, and a few fretful folk have been putting it down to the condition of the recreational facilities. It's all nonsense, of course, but if we could just humor them and give the whole thing a thorough hose down, I would be most grateful. I mean, I don't know that, like, scum can cause dermatitis, but it certainly looks quite filthy, I won't lie. I'm willing to come in here and clean this up. I got you. Wow, there's so much stuff. So much cleaning to be done. But that's good, because we got lots of time. I don't have anywhere to be today. This is supposed to be red and yellow? Oh my god, it's absolutely caked, dude. That's crazy. This is so filthy. Oh my god. I will say, like, cleaning stuff in this game is satisfying, but it does feel kind of, like, low-key insulting how dirty it even gets in the first place. Like, how do you do this to a bench, man? What ungodly acts have caused a bench to find itself in such conditions? I mean, I guess that's probably what it's like being somebody who is a professional cleaner. Like, you get jobs all the time where you're like, I don't even want to know how this happened. I'm just here to fix it up, I guess. I feel like that must be such a regular occurrence. But yeah, I hope you guys have had a good week. I've been doing a lot of walking, surprisingly. On Tuesday, on the same day as my last stream that I did, I went out. I went out with my friend and we played some badminton for the first time in, God, I don't know how long it's been. I want to say at least a year since I played badminton. It was really fun. It was also nice. I used to be in a lot worse shape and I couldn't breathe so good. So usually, even if we'd only go for like an hour of badminton, I would have to spend, like, I would say maybe 10 minutes of that hour throughout the course of it, just like resting back up because I would be so out of breath that I couldn't, like, keep going. I had to stop and, like, recover myself, I suppose. But now when I went back, yeah, I was able to go the whole time. I was running around. When I play badminton, I like to play like a maniac because my reaction, well, it's not like my reaction time is terrible. It's not great. But it's more like my game sense is bad because I've never played badminton competitively, right? I just play for fun with my friends, and I used to play with my dad. So a lot of the time, it's like I won't see something coming until it's already happened, and it's like, oh, like, you know, you're just like way at the back. Somebody hits a drop shot, and I don't like know to move up quickly enough, so I'll just like run all the way down the court and like literally dive for it like you're trying to like do a dig like in volleyball almost. Like, I don't care. I'll just be having fun like throwing myself around the court like that. So I had a good time playing some badminton with my friend. It was really fun. And then I remember I went for like an hour-long walk with my dad that night as well. And yesterday I probably did like over an hour of walking again, so I'm kind of surprised my legs aren't sore. I guess, to be fair, like, my legs were a little sore yesterday because of the badminton, but like an hour of walking is not that much walking. Like, even though it's more than I would normally do, I wouldn't expect to feel it the same way as, like, I don't know, when I go out for like an event, like a convention or a day out with my family or something, and I'm walking around like all day, you know what I mean? It's kind of different, I guess. Is there a wider nozzle than this? There is. Can I use that here, or is it too weak? It's really weak. This one does a better job. Yeah, so I've been moving around. I'm hoping I can get back to working out tomorrow. I decided to take an extra rest day just because my well, you know, I did my workout on the same day that I went to play badminton, and so my arm, like my shoulders were kind of sore. My shoulders ended up being a little bit sore. Well, particularly my right shoulder. Obviously, because I'm right-handed. But, you know what's funny, though? At, like, the end of our hour, we were bored, and my friend was like, you want to play left-handed? And I'm like, okay, sure. And so we tried to play left-handed badminton for a bit, even though we're both right-handed. And it was funny, because we went from, like, neither of us being able to even, like, get a serve over successfully to, like, a 10-hit rally somehow. Like, it was so random. We couldn't hit the bird for anything. Except for that one rally, we got 10 hits in a row. It was absolutely magical. Unfortunately, you know, didn't end up getting much after that. But it was really funny that we had, like, an actual rally while playing offhanded the whole time. And I got one actual game off of my friend as well, which was fun. Because, you know, my friend, neither of us are, like, particularly insane at badminton, but he is a tennis coach. Like, that's what he does every summer is he goes and he plays tennis, and he teaches kids to play tennis. And that's dope, honestly. I think that's epic. But, you know, he has more of a background in racket sports like that, I guess, than I do. Or just sports in general. He's a lot more athletic than I am. At least traditionally speaking, you know, I was very unathletic growing up. But, you know, it's also one of those things where, like, now that I'm getting a bit older, like, I almost wish it was easier to be into sports as an adult because they're kind of fun. It's like a good way to get yourself up and, like, moving. Fun excuse to just run around like an absolute, like a child. Because it's fun to be like that. But I had fun doing that. I've been working on a new song cover as well. It's actually finished. So the song cover is finished. It'll probably come out, I'm thinking next Saturday, because next Saturday I'm going out with my family, so I won't be able to stream. So you can put something else out then. Part of the reason I couldn't put it out yet if I wanted to anyway, and I was posting about this earlier, is basically I made a cover with like simpler methodology than I normally would, and the goal is that I'm making like a tutorial for like newer VTubers or people who want to become VTuber, Utaite or whatever, right? On how to make song covers, you know, from like doing the recording to the mix to the like video editing, you know, where to commission certain people, yada yada, right? Like all the basics, sort of. But I will say something I was tinkering with earlier was trying to figure out the music video and doing the editing for that. And in my mind, it was going to be really simple and really easy. Because, like, basically, it is one of many songs where you can, why is this not shooting properly? Spray. Thank you. It's one of many, like, songs where the Vocaloid producer will give you, like, the music video files, and you just have to compile it, basically. So it'll be like a lyric video with a green screen, and all you have to do is green screen it, and then drop your art like in with the green screen so that it's the same video, but now it's you instead of like Hatsune Miku or whatever. And so it's supposed to be really easy. However, because I wanted it to be budget friendly, I was like, okay, let me use like free editing software so that it's you don't feel like paywalled, right? And that really kind of sucked for me, because when I looked at free editing options, I feel like there's two main ones that people generally talk about. One of them is CapCut, and I do not support CapCut because well, there's a few reasons, but you know, aside from the fact that they're like owned by TikTok and I don't really use TikTok, the main reason I don't support them is they have a lot of AI technology built into CapCut now. So, you know, they'll have like AI subtitling, which is less offensive in my opinion. I don't really have a huge problem with that. You know, like even Premiere Pro, most editing software nowadays will have a thing where it'll try and listen to the video and give you captioning, because it saves a lot of time on what is the most irritating thing, and you can just like go in and manually fix it after if it hears anything wrong, if you don't like the pacing. It's just sort of like it gives you a head start, but you're still gonna like do the work yourself, you know what I mean? They also have like AI gen stuff that looks like generated art and things like that, and I can't promote anything like that in good faith, period, but especially not to new VTubers, because VTubing is a community that's like built on artists, you know what I mean? It wouldn't exist if it weren't for artists being really cool people. And I think that it's very important to support ethical practice for stuff like that. And so I can't support that in good faith. Now, the other problem, though, is that the only other free editing software that everybody talks about is DaVinci Resolve. And some of you who are a little more OG may remember that I've had my own run-in with DaVinci Resolve in the past, because earlier this year, you know, I was looking to get out of using Premiere Pro, potentially, and everybody was like, oh, DaVinci Resolve can do everything, and it's free, and it's the GOAT. And I was like, oh, okay, this looks pretty hype. And then I tried it for an hour, and I got super angry because I couldn't find how to do anything. It was like such a slog to make like a basic clip. And so I put it down, and I didn't look back. But I was like, okay, well, this is gonna be easy. All I have to do is make a green screen. How hard could a green screen be? I kid you not, most of the tutorials I found on YouTube for green screening in DaVinci Resolve are at least 15 minutes long. Just to put up a green screen. In Premiere Pro, it takes like 5 seconds, dude. Like, you just drag the green screen on top, you say, you know, you use the little color picker and you click the green and then it disappears. Like, it's so easy on Premiere Pro. But I was trying to fiddle around with it for like a half hour on DaVinci Resolve, and that was with me using a simple 1-minute tutorial. I could not figure it out for the life of me, so I gotta go back and figure that out later. Try my best to see what I can do. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to look at one of those longer tutorials and see if I can make it work, just so that I can understand it and like package it in a more like easily processable way. But like, oh my god, I am not normally an advocate for piracy, and I'm still not, okay? But the temptation to just put in the script like, all right, this is the part where you go and you sail the 7 seas, get sailing. Ahoy matey, we're gonna be using Adobe today. Oh man, if only I had the balls. If only I had the balls. But yeah, so I was struggling with that earlier. I'm gonna have to keep struggling with it later. It's gonna be a whole process, but I feel like it's gonna be worth it. I haven't even thought about the fact that, you know, I still gotta actually edit this video as well. Like once the music video is finished, that means that it's time to script and edit a whole tutorial video, which will take a while. It's gonna be a lot of effort, you know, but I think it's actually like an important video to make in a lot of ways, because I wish that something like this existed when I started. You know, it's very like difficult to find information about getting into making music, in my opinion. Even just like song covers, it takes a lot of digging to find very simple info. It's hard to like tell what you should be looking at, even, because it's one of those things where you don't know what you don't know, right? It can be so complicated that you don't even know where to start, and it's just intimidating, and you can't find anything, and you just give up. And you know, I think that the challenging thing about getting into like sort of DIYing whole music productions and stuff like that as a VTuber is every single step is like that. You learning, you know, audio mixing software. Well, first you gotta learn your DAW well enough that you can record. That's mandatory if you want to be a singer. But then you gotta learn how to do audio mixing and how to work around your DAW if you're interested in that. And then if you want to do the music video yourself, you got to learn a video editing software. And then if you want to do the art yourself, you got to learn digital art software. You know, it's like there's a lot of steps. There's a lot of stuff where, you know, it's very tempting to just outsource things. And as you actually get big enough that you have money, most of the time, unless you have a very particular like thing you want strong creative control over, you're gonna outsource, because it's just so time inefficient for you to sit down and do all of the like manual labor, right? At some point as a business, you have to scale up, and that's a very common thing for VTubing when you're doing music productions. That being said, that's also very expensive to do, and it's not sustainable if you're not earning significant money doing like whatever music you're doing. A lot of the time with covers, you're earning no money, even if you have a following, but especially if you don't have a following. And so it can be one of those things where it's like, we really do need some sort of like sit me down and walk me through step by step, how can I do all of this stuff myself? Because technically there are tutorials for everything, but oftentimes it's like you gotta sift through like a whole bunch of tutorials, and you won't really know what you're looking for a lot of the time. Like, that's the issue, is that the tutorials are out there, but there's not a curator. And a lot of the time, I would say that, like, I can't speak for everything, especially digital art. I suck at digital art. So I can't speak too much on how to do that yourself. And, you know, obviously you'll need to use a lot of different tutorials if you're new to art and you want to get good enough that you can do your own cover illustrations and have it be like industry-ish, right? But I can definitely say for video editing, sometimes you can need to like look up a lot of tutorials as you go. And for audio editing, oh my god, it feels like it's a tutorial for every singular action you want to do. And a lot of the time the UI is very like not intuitive for software like that. That's the real challenge with a lot of like creative work, is when you're new to something, the UI on a lot of these platforms is trash. You're gonna be fighting for your life trying to find where all the buttons are. And so like, I wanted to make something that would be helpful in a way that I wish I had when I was newer. And also, I think I've talked about it before, but I have like a short that I made ages ago about how VTubers make covers, and it was more so just supposed to be like appealing to a general audience and not actually in depth. But a lot of people, like even now to this day, I still get comments on that short. It's like the only short that I still get comments on nowadays. Like months and months later, and it's people asking if there's a full video or like specific questions, stuff like that. And I want to have like a full-length video I can point them to, since clearly there's a need for it. Somebody's got to feed the people, and I'm here to do it while making a new cover for you guys. But yeah, I've been working on that for a bit, which, I mean, it's been a fun project. I think it was interesting trying to challenge myself to like use as many free options as possible, because there's actually, it's funny, around the same time that I was supposed to make this video before it got delayed for various reasons, I saw another VTuber made like a cover tutorial for VTubers. It was Hazumi Eileen. Decently big, I think, indie VTuber. I'm not too familiar with them, but they seem chill, from what I have seen. And they made a great video about making a cover for the first time. But one of the big problems I had with that video, not that it's like wrong in any way, but it was very much in certain aspects like, okay, so you commission this specialist here, this specialist here, this specialist here, and you know, so on and so forth. And if you're gonna do that, you have to go into that cover knowing like, okay, this is gonna cost me like, I don't know, $500, something like that. Like, the thing is very expensive because you got to pay a video editor, and depending on the complexity of the video, that can run you a good amount. You gotta pay an audio mixer, you gotta like pay an artist, and you know, very quickly, depending on the complexity of what you're doing, the price goes higher and higher and higher, and it goes up very fast. And so I wanted to come in and have a tutorial that's more like, okay, you know, maybe we can't afford to do $500 all the time. Let's pay like $100 one time, maybe. And then if you want to pay for art, and like if you can't draw it yourself, we'll do that. And then otherwise, we're gonna DIY it. Let me show you how to do it. Let's go. Right? Because, you know, in a lot of ways, I think it's interesting to me that there's not more of like a normalization for like as a VTuber being expected to do your creative work yourself. It's not surprising. In fact, it's very common when you're like looking at smaller VTubers. Like almost all of my VTuber friends know how to mix audio, which makes sense because when you're starting out, you only got so much money, and you're also just interested in it anyway, so you might as well learn how to do it yourself, right? Very useful skills if you ever want to get into singing, to learn how to do audio mixing. But, you know, I think that it's more so like for the people who aren't like in it yet, for like the people who are like looking into how they can become a VTuber, or maybe they just did it, but they're like really new and they don't really know what they're doing yet, right? It's one of those things where in the same way that people will always say like use a free model at first, or nowadays you can say like, I don't know, buy the Suica customizable if you want to make it your own, but not pay like thousands of dollars for your model. I think music should be the same way, where it's like you wanna dip your toes in. That's excellent. Let's try and do this in a way that you can make a sustainable investment in yourself and build some skills that you can use later. Because it's just so useful. It's so useful. And it's freeing. It costs a lot of time, Like, I think that in a lot of ways, it's worth it to try it at least once. Even if you decide it's, like, too much of a time investment. Oh my god, sorry, my foot fell asleep, and it's, like, it feels really tingly. Ah! Sorry, what was I saying? Even if you decide it's, like, too much of a time investment for you to regularly mix your own stuff, you will get, like, a better understanding of what your audio mixer is doing when you outsource them, what you can, like, do when you're recording to make their life easier, yada yada, right? How can you be a better client? How can you be a better artist? If you understand the process better, it will make your life easier, right? I think that goes for most things, but in the arts, there's some sort of, like, mystification of, like, specialists, in my opinion. It's like every production that is, like, big a lot of the time is either everything is by one person and it feels like impossibly, like, dedicated, like, oh, this is like their whole life was working on this project for years, or on the contrary, every single thing is outsourced practically. Like, it's, you know, this person for this person for that. Maybe it's teams of specialists for one thing, right? And there's a bit of, like, a bit of a lost art of sort of, like, you don't have to do all of it, but you should try your best to you know, try dabbling in all of the different things and see what you want to, like, do yourself, and it'll help you understand. Because that's how you become a good project director as well, in my opinion. Is you, like, learn a little bit about how everything works, you understand what's going on, and then you'll have a better eye for, like, what different people are like, good at and actually specialized at when you go out to try and pick, like, who do I want to commission for XYZ. Instead of just being random or vibes-based entirely. I mean, it's still mostly vibes-based, but you can have more of an idea of, like, what kind of stuff you're looking for. And you can make it more of a two-way street to work on stuff. And I think that's dope. I love project management. Sorry, that was a hugely long ramble about new project I'm working on. But I love, like, just project management and, like, doing artistic stuff in VTubing as a medium, so not too often that I get to nerd out about everything. Also, I don't know why. My download speed was fine, but I was having a really slow time downloading some of the assets earlier for the music video. And so while I was waiting, I hopped on Uma Musume, of course. And I ended up doing some gacha pulls, actually. I was, like, convinced that I was gonna full-blown, like, save for Super Creek banner. But I was like, man, I need more Umas. I need more horses, because I'm getting gapped by not having enough horse. So I pulled the McQueen Teo banner a bit. I did not get either of them, but I did get a bunch of new Umas. I got Taiki Shuttle, which is really good. I got... Who was the other 3-star that I pulled? Because there was another 3-star that I pulled. I got Rice Shower, which I like Rice Shower's design a lot, so I'm excited to try out her career. And then I got Air Groove and Mayano Top Gun for some 2-stars that are new as well, so that's kind of cool. It's like, it's not what I was pulling for, but I'm not mad. In a lot of ways, I'm happy that I got some 3-stars. I got not the right 1-stars mostly for what I wanted to level up, but I got some, so. I got an extra level on my Bakshin. Bakshin. So, pretty epic. But yeah, I did a little Uma Musume. as a break between me trying to like decode another language. It felt like using DaVinci Resolve. Oh man, I'm using DaVinci Resolve for this one tutorial video because it's free software, and then I'm like uninstalling that shit, bro. I cannot be asked, dude. I'm gonna be fighting for my life trying to figure out how to do like a simple green screen just for this one video. It's gonna be like hours of me compiling information just so that I can like give a really specific and detailed like answer on how to do stuff in the video. Like, oh yeah, just copy this and this. You don't have to understand, just follow me. Because that's what, honestly, I think that a lot of the time when you're learning new software, that's what it feels like. Like, you have to get to the intermediate stage before you start watching a tutorial and somebody does something and you're like, oh, okay, I get what they're doing. Most of the time when you're new, it's just like you're just following along like bar for bar exactly what they're doing and praying to God that it works on whatever your project is. You know, it's kind of like you're throwing your text into Google Translate. You know it's not going to do a great job, but you just hope that it comes out the other side understandable. That's all you can ask for, really. I've been wanting to get back into language studying a bit more recently as well. I haven't been doing a lot of like studying for Japanese in quite a while. I guess I'm not particularly like studying with this, but I started rewatching Clannad recently. I'm like 10 episodes in, and that's been nice just as a way to like, even though I'm using subtitles, which is not ideal for studying reasons, a lot of why I'm rewatching Clannad is for the story, and I wouldn't be able to appreciate it the same way if I wasn't using English subtitles. But just like listening to Japanese media again, I feel like has been kind of good, because I haven't been listening to a lot of Japanese media outside of music lately, honestly, and even then I've been listening to less Japanese music relatively than I used to, just because I've been enjoying a few English artists too. I misclicked. But yeah, it's been kind of nice watching some anime as well. You know, I haven't been watching anime particularly in quite some time, so it's been good. I want to get into the Uma Musume anime too. I just haven't gotten around to starting it yet. I think one of the only gripes that I have right now about watching anime is it's very hard to watch anime as like a background activity or like background noise, mostly because it's not in my mother tongue, right? So like if I'm watching, I have to be watching attentively. But I also have been very like in the mood to grind Uma Musume a lot recently, like the game. So I've been watching more YouTube, I guess, relatively, just because I can do that while I play something else on the side and just sort of like gander over at the screen when it's like particularly interesting. Like I started watching some Epicurious videos again recently, which is kind of fun. I feel like when I get onto like my YouTube phases, it's really easy to like fall into like just like spirals of watching video essays that are kind of doomer in some ways, or like people making drama videos and stuff like that. And you know, every once in a while I get kind of sucked into stuff like that, and then I just feel like shit after watching it. But in terms of like trying to find YouTube videos that are like fun to watch all the time again, I've been enjoying like watching some Epicurious videos for the first time in, I don't know, years, man. It's fun to watch them cook. You know, the chefs a lot of the time are really funny or like wholesome. And the home cooks are too. Like, it's usually just good people, I guess. But also, one of the series I've been finding interesting to watch, even though I don't particularly eat like frozen food. I eat some frozen food a decent amount, but not like full-blown like frozen meals. It's more like I might have like a frozen ingredient that I'm adding to something, like, you know. A lot of the time with like meat, it'll just be like some sort of like frozen meat option, and then I'll like make some rice or whatever, right? To go with it. But not like a full-blown like frozen, just pop it in the microwave and it's ready type meal. Yep. Beat deal. Yes, sir. But yeah, I don't usually eat stuff like that. But I was watching sort of like a series that they had going where it's like pro chefs taste every frozen whatever, like frozen pizza, frozen fries, frozen burrito, whatever. Or like store-bought, every store-bought cake mix, every store-bought cookie, every whatever, right? And they would like try and guess the brands and like rate them before they knew what it is. And so it'd be like their favorite of whatever and their least favorite of whatever foods. And it was honestly both like very interesting because a lot of them are really knowledgeable about like food science. They just like look at it, like maybe they start eating it, and they'd immediately just be like, oh yeah, so I can tell that it's using this emulsifier to like make it thicker. Like instead of like what's natural. Or like immediately if you try and like, you know, they'll like sneak in like a gluten-free option or like a vegan option for something to see how like a regular person will say that it stacks up to a non-vegan or a non-gluten-free option for something. And the chefs will always immediately be like, ooh, this is weird. This must be like gluten-free or something. It's probably using like, I don't know, almond flour or whatever. And I'm like, what the hell is almond flour? I've never heard of almond flour in my life. And then they'll like catch the thing. It'll be like, yep, gluten-free. And they'll flip it around, look at the packaging. It's like, yeah, as you can see right here, it's using almond flour for this. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, they're so like knowledgeable about what I think is the most interesting is like, these are professional chefs, but they're knowledgeable about how like food preservatives that go in like only frozen food that you're trying to give shelf life. They know about how all that stuff works. I don't know if it's like when you're studying at culinary school, you also have to learn about food science for that stuff, or if it's just like common for chefs to have that like overlapping interest. Maybe because they're sort of like going on shows and stuff like that, they're a bit more predisposed to like learning stuff to a degree they can explain it. I don't know, but it's interesting. I thought that it was kind of fun to rewatch stuff like that for the first time in a while. That, or like sometimes they'll do it where they'll have like a home cook bring in a recipe that costs like, I don't know, $15 or whatever. Average, like, oh, I wanted to cook a nice meal at home type thing. And then the chef will be like, all right, here's my turbo omega bougie pizza. It costs $350 worth of ingredients to make. And then they trade ingredients, and the home cook has to make the $350 pizza. And the chef has whatever, like, cheap, super basic $15 ingredients for it. And they have to try and, like, chef it up. You know what I mean? They gotta try and do something fancy with jarred tomato sauce and store-bought dough and whatever. And they do, somehow. I don't even know how. I feel like cooking is so much more of an art form than it's often given credit for. It's kind of cool. I guess part of the novelty for me is that I don't do a lot of like cooking in the sense of like making things from scratch on my own. I like to bake, but I haven't gotten as into cooking because baking is like more for special occasions. I don't do it all the time, but I like to do it well and share it with a lot of people. Whereas cooking is very much, I would say, like, you know, a day-to-day skill. It's like, if I'm learning to cook something, since I don't normally cook anything for my family, it's more like either I was really craving something that's hard to get somewhere or too expensive to get from like a restaurant somewhere, or it's got to be like so simple that I can make it with very little like barrier to my day, because I'm lazy. Like, cooking takes a lot of effort that I don't always feel like putting in, which I don't think is an uncommon sentiment at all, but at the same time, it's such an art form to watch people like make something from scratch and it comes out looking so scrumptious. Makes me want to like do it myself. Like, I remember like a year or two ago, I watched one of those Epicurious videos that I rewatched recently. I think it was like 3 levels of garlic bread, like a professional chef, a home cook, and like, I don't know, a home cook that only uses the air fryer or the microwave to make basic ass shit they don't really know. Like, that guy made his fucking garlic bread with a hot dog bun. Like, you know, technically he's cooking at home, but I don't know that he's a home cook. You know what I mean? I mean, hey, you know, if it works, it works. I'm sure it was still not bad. But yeah, I was watching that, and I remember like a year ago, I watched, I think, that same video, and it made me want to try like baking bread from scratch for the first time. So I still have the bread flour in my cabinet, and I failed to make bread, by the way. I tried, and it did not rise, and it smelled really bad, and I was like, oh shit, something went wrong with my bread. There's some sort of like parasite in my bread or some shit. I'm not eating this. And so, you know, the first time I was like, oh, maybe that's just like the yeast smell or something. I don't know. Let's just, you know, wrap it back up. It'll continue its resting like it's supposed to. And then after like a couple stages, I was like, something wrong with this dough, man. I don't know. Maybe at some point I'll try making bread on stream. It's been a while since we've done a baking stream, because last time I made cookies, I did not do it on stream. But to be fair, like, I don't know, making cookies on stream is kind of hard, because I like to rest my dough overnight a lot of the time. Like, that's the tricky thing about doing cooking for streams, is how do you like format things in a way that you're not gonna have people waiting hours for it to rest, but at the same time, like, I don't want to make 2 whole batches of cookies and then just be like, all right, this is the batch that I made last night, because then I'm gonna end up with like 60 cookies, and I do not have enough friends for 60 cookies. I'm just gonna be a fat ass and eat 60 cookies if I have 60 cookies. Like, however many is there, you know, I'll probably manage to pawn off like maybe 10 or 15 to friends and family, and then the rest of it is going down the hatch, and it doesn't matter if that number is 5, 50, 5,000, they're going in. So, you know, I don't know. I gotta like try and think of more desserts that wouldn't be too hard to make, that don't require like being rested particularly. Or if they do, not for long, you know what I mean? I also don't even know, like, for the idea of making, like, I don't know, cookie dough one day, coming on stream and making a new, like, batch, and then pulling, like, the rested batch out of the fridge, like, after, so you wouldn't have to wait for it to chill on stream. I feel like I don't even know if I have enough like mixing bowls to do that. I got like 2 mixing bowls. One of them probably puts microplastics in the food. It's not even like a mixing bowl. It's like a old salad bowl made of plastic. I got 1 nice mixing bowl, and it does the job. Maybe I have to invest more for the next baking stream. I've always thought I would have so many more options if I bought one of those, like, what do you call them? They're like those mini, like, tabletop stoves. You know, it'll be like just 1 burner. Like, you can buy a singular burner that you can plug into power, and like you can keep that in your room or like your dorm or whatever, instead of having to like go to the kitchen. Because the problem is, like, I can't put my setup in my kitchen. That's the reason why the baking streams have always been so scuffed. Just because I have to do it from in my room, even though obviously I gotta go to the kitchen to like actually cook stuff. I remember, you know, one thing I wanted to try was no bake cakes. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of them, but I've seen like I remember I used to always see there were like ASMR cooking videos, which is such a like odd subgenre of the internet to fall into, but look, they were hype, I promise, okay? They would always, whenever it was baking, it felt like almost every time it was a no-bake cake. Which is like, I think they were usually like a type of cheesecake, but they use, I don't remember if it was like agar, I think. And they just like make a cake that doesn't have to go in the fridge. Or maybe it did have to go in the fridge, but you don't actually put it in the oven, which would be kind of sick because it makes it a little bit easier. I don't have to baby it while I'm trying to be on stream and be like, all right, sorry guys, let me just disappear for 5 minutes while I go to the kitchen. But yeah, I don't know. It'd be fun to do more baking stuff soon. Yeah, I was thinking, not necessarily that I'd actually be baking for this person, but it would be funny if I ended up hanging out with Ada at some point. Maybe I'd bake something, because her birthday is... I actually don't know specifically what day her birthday is. It might even be today, for all I know. But she's doing a birthday, like, donathon starting later today. That's going to go for the weekend. I'm actually... I don't know. I don't think I'm streaming my POVs for anything unless they want me to. But I'll be playing some games over on Ada's channel, so that's going to be fun. I feel like I haven't been part of, like, any big game, like, group collabs. I was going to say recently, but as a VTuber, I don't know if I've ever done that now that I think about it. So it'd be kind of fun, honestly. Because I used to be into, like, social gaming events a little bit, you know? I would be joining, like, Among Us lobbies and stuff like that. I would be playing, like, big lobbies of games with my friends and stuff like that, and other streamers sometimes. But since I became a VTuber, I feel like I ended up, like, so in my own corner in a lot of ways. You know, I end up just hanging out with the same few people one-on-one a lot of the time, which is my preferred way to socialize for the most part. I don't have a huge, like, social battery for hanging out with a lot of people, but at the same time, like, I definitely think it's fun every once in a while to sort of have, like, more of a party game type experience. It's a lot of fun. I used to play a lot of Jackbox with my friends, actually, in that kind of vein. Like, I think, over half of the Jackbox packs. I'm trying to think. I own 3 through 7. I can't remember if I got 8. I don't think I did. But I definitely have 3 through 7, if I remember correctly. And I almost never use them anymore. Because after a while, my friend group just, like, stopped wanting to play Jackbox. And I was like, no, it was so fun. I loved playing Jackbox with the boys. It was so, like, stupid. It was just unadulterated stupidity, which was great. It was fun. I feel like I gotta assemble a squad of VTubers who are down to play stuff like that at some point and get it back. I gotta take advantage of all of the party games. It would be really fun is one day if I did like an off collab, like Jackbox thing with a few people. That'd be sick. Because you know what? I've never played the Jackbox games offline. There are some of them where they're designed to, like, I think some of them you actually have to be, like, in the same room to play, but a lot of them, even if they're not, like, mandatory, it's kind of designed with, like, that philosophy in mind, I suppose, right? And so it would be really neat. I wonder just like how different of an experience it would be to do it as like an off collab thing. That being said, I have no idea that I know enough people. Also, even if I did want to do that, I don't know if it would be possible to do it on my setup because my room is so tiny, y'all. Oh my god. Like, I think the biggest problem would be, I don't know how you would avoid screen peeking each other. You're gonna be like shoulder to shoulder in the same room. Maybe not quite that bad. Maybe it could work. Although I guess doing audio would be kind of tricky too. Cause like you would have to have a mic, like, would you mic everybody somehow? I definitely don't have that many mics. Maybe because my studio mic is like really sensitive, I could take it out of my vocal booth and like out into my room. And it would like, because it picks everything up so easily, it would just be able to like use one mic to get the whole room. I don't know if that would actually work, but it might, honestly. Like, there's an idea there. It would be worth experimenting with if I were to sort of like try and shoot the idea at other people. It'd be funny. I hope I do end up doing some sort of off collab someday. I feel like it'd be fun, you know? Something different. But I don't even do that much in the way of collabs to begin with at the moment, so probably won't be for a while if I do anything like that. Okay, let's see. I definitely like that I don't have to like get these floors 100%. As long as I get it like close enough, usually it'll just like auto clean the rest. Imagine if you had to get every speck of floor. Every last bit of floor. That would suck. It would be too realistic. In real life, usually I have like, even when I clean my room, I have like a corner of my room that I just forget to clean because I never do anything there anyway. Okay, where is the yellow part still dirty? There. Where's the red still dirty? Try and get some of the like grime lining the inside here for some of these floors. I don't really know why I decided to start with the floors. I guess it'd just be nice to like have one larger aspect of everything be clean while I'm working on the rest. But yeah, I feel like even aside from like VTuber stuff and like, oh, I want to do more off collabs and stuff like that, I want to just like get back to, I think, like hanging out with people offline a little bit more than I'm used to. I mean, I say that, the problem is that like I don't know enough people and there's not a lot of stuff that actually interests me in my area, unfortunately, in terms of like stuff to go outside and do. But even so, like, I don't know. I've been more into just like moving to recently. Yeah, shout out using my body. Pretty epic, pretty cool. This is what I'm saying. I don't know that I'm in like full blown like fitness arc yet, but the fact that I've like taken an interest in actually going outside more often and like exercising and stuff like that, it feels kind of surreal to me because I've never been the type of kid to do that, you know what I mean? Like when I was growing up more, I was like, you know, it wasn't necessarily that there was nobody to go and play with, because there definitely was. You know, I feel like nowadays it's a lot harder to like find IRL social opportunities, but when I was growing up, it wasn't like undoable by any means. The problem for me was just that I thought that video games were like so enthralling, so enchanting, that, you know, my fat ass did not care about getting anywhere remotely decent at like sports or anything that involved going outside. I was sat down with my Nintendos, and that was everything that I wanted, man. I couldn't have cared for anything else as much as I did for gaming, you know? Terminally online before it was even online. Just terminally on my pewter, on my gaming console, the classic. And I always enjoyed doing stuff like that. But nowadays, I feel like you don't really see like kids out and about just like playing anymore. Like a couple days ago, actually, while I was out on like a late night walk, I was with my dad, and this like, I don't know, maybe like 13-ish kid came up to me and asked for directions to get home. And in some ways, it was like, you know, that's actually cool that this kid is like out and just sort of like playing with another kid, like out, you know, late. His parents aren't like right over his shoulder. He's not inside like doing nothing. He's out here, you know, being physically active, and that's epic. And on the other hand, I was like, my God, dude, you don't even know how to get home, and it's like almost 2 a.m. right now. You gotta stay closer to home base, man. Like, surely, you know, because it's not like, you know, we were at like a park or anything. We were just out on like a regular ass street. So I was like, damn, you know, like this kid is out like late. My God. Bro, what am I missing on this like floor? Hello? You know, at the same time, I was like, you know, it's cool that they're like out and about, enjoying themselves. I feel like you don't see that too often anymore. They don't talk anymore either, which is hypocritical for me to say anything, because I'm also a very quiet person IRL. Like, you know, unless I'm like really like comfortable with somebody and we're already friends, I am very much like I don't usually talk unless they talk to me first type of person. But I think that it's kind of nice when people are actually like socially inviting. as much as I don't practice what I preach with that. It was definitely not bad way to sort of round out my walk. How are these floors like not clean, man? What more can I do for you? It's like I see these specks of dirt, but no matter how much I'm blasting them, it doesn't go to 100. There's the large red floor down. I've been out and about, aside from Uma Musume and work. Not me naming Uma Musume before the work that I've been doing. Stage 100 addiction. Uma Musume is work though, honestly. That is like clocking into an extra shift, but I do it for the love of the game, baby. Where is there still third there? Uma Musume, yes sir. I am very chronically addicted. I feel like the only thing I haven't been doing for Uma Musume is getting into the anime. That's like the one last step before I'm like all the way gone. Daiwa Scarlet. I like Daiwa Scarlet. I was doing some runs with her last night. I got her to A rank for the first time. Watch the anime. I know. I really do want to watch the anime. Right now, I'm in the middle of rewatching Clannad, which is like the first time I've been watching anime in quite some time. And I do want to like finish that first. I don't know that I want to like juggle a bunch of shows at the same time, because I'm usually very bad at doing that. But I'll probably be watching the Uma Musume anime after I finish that. It was funny. I was originally, well, I really wanted to rewatch Clannad for like probably over a year at this point. Like I watched it so long ago. Clannad was one of the earliest anime I watched. But I have like one friend who's like really obsessed with Clannad. It's like his favorite piece of media ever. And honestly, it might be mine too. It might be my favorite anime, but I have to, part of the reason I want to rewatch it is so that I can decide if it's my favorite anime or not. So I felt like doing it one day, and I hopped on the rhythm game that me and my friend both play, and I got a really good score for once, and I was like, you know, I have a funny opportunity here. I'm gonna send him this score and be like, if you snipe me, I'll rewatch Clannad, and then I'm just gonna start rewatching it anyway because I don't think he's gonna snipe me, but it's fine because I want to watch it anyway, and I'll just be like, joke's on you, I'm already rewatching it. And then I woke up the next morning and he already sniped and he was like, all right, get watching. And I'm like, bro, what the hell? He's too goated, man. There's nothing I could do in that game that he cannot do, which is not surprising because I peaked at like rank 2,500 global, and he peaked at like, I don't know, rank 200 global. He's still top 300, I'm pretty sure, in the world. So perhaps I was a bit naive thinking that I had him got with this one score, but I genuinely did think it was like not his like type of thing. You know, I didn't think that he had the skill set for it, and I got humbled very quickly. But, you know, either way, my excuse to start my rewatch, I've been enjoying it, to be honest, because the way that I remembered things going is that Clannad was, like, decent, and then Clannad After Story is, like, the greatest thing ever produced of all time ever in the history of the universe. And then I'm watching now, and honestly, I'm enjoying the first season a fair bit so far. Like, I thought I remembered it being like a very like okay, like above average slice of life, like rom-com type beat. But it's actually like solid, I won't lie. So I'm having fun with my rewatch. More targeted nozzle. Clean the interior of the bin? This is so British. They're calling it a bin. Straight into the bin. But yeah, I've been enjoying checking out a little bit of anime again recently. Because I don't know, I haven't been watching a lot of anime. I think what it is my attention span is cooked. It's that my attention span is cooked, and I have another degen priority in the form of I want to play a lot of Uma Musume. And if I'm watching anime, I have to watch very intently because I got to read the subtitles, you know what I mean? My Japanese is like decent, but it's not like, oh yeah, I can just play anime in the background and follow decent, yo. I mean, that's not decent. That's like fluent at that point as far as I'm concerned. But, you know, a lot of the time, I don't find myself reaching for media anymore where I have to like commit to it, you know. It's a bit of a longer watch. It's like a whole story. You know, I gotta like watch it attentively and take it in. Even though I enjoy stuff like that, I think that entertainment is like so commodified now that it's so easy to just like, I don't know, reach for the 10-minute to like hour or too long like video essay or live stream or whatever, which is not wrong by any means. I think that it's fun to enjoy both in different like times and different interests. I just haven't like watched anime in a while, and I find that it's one of those things where any sort of like piece of media or hobby where it's more of a time commitment, like you can't just do like one episode. You know that you're gonna watch the whole series, right? I'll like get anxiety, as stupid as this sounds. I'll get anxiety around starting it because I know how much of a time commitment it could potentially become. Which is so goofy because like it's a hobby, bro. And like you can watch just one episode. But my brain doesn't work like that. I'm a binger, bro. Once I'm in, I'm in. Like, it's not often that I watch one episode and then go do something else. Most of the time, I'm watching at least a handful, and it can go a lot longer than that. Like, I remember when I was finishing Full Metal Alchemist. Oh my god, dude. I'm pretty sure I watched the last 21 or 22 episodes in one sitting. Like, I was hooked, bro. I was in. It was like hopelessly on a cliffhanger. I had to know what happened. But unlike that about a lot of shows, like there's a decent amount of the time where when I've decided like, okay, I want like a chill, nice anime watch, I'm gonna pick like a 12 episode that I can just sort of take at my own speed. I don't have to think about it too much. It's just like, you know, it's like junk food anime. You don't watch it for like a meaningful story that's gonna, you know, be thought-provoking. You watch it because it's cute or funny or whatever, right? And a lot of the time, I end up finishing those in one sitting. Because I don't know, I'm just bored and then I get engaged in the story, and it's, you know, it's like 12 episodes is like 4 hours or so. And so that's an amount of time that, you know, for better or for worse, I have most days. But if you even like double that and you extend that logic to be like, okay, 24 episodes, hypothetically, I mean, hypothetically that could be a watch in one day. Realistically, if I was like hard binging 2 days, but even if not, like, you know, easily in a week you could do a 24 episode, right? But despite that, 24 episodes spooks me because it feels like it's a lot longer, which it is. It's double. It's just that it's double of something that's not that crazy to begin with, and you don't have to binge it. But my impulse control sucks. At least for certain things. I think my impulse control for money is pretty decent, but my impulse control for time-sensitive, like, hobbies and events is quite bad. I lose track of time much more easily than I lose track of money. Which I would prefer it that way, but, you know, comparing struggles when it's not a competition, you know what I mean? Also, on a completely unrelated note, I love the fact that this structure is called Stego Slide. What a banger playground Contraption? That's not a right word. Equipment? Like I don't know. How do you define a slide? I think it'd be like playground equipment. I don't know, but it's a stegosaurus, and that's metal as fuck. I love that. Let's go. Rah. I'd be cleaning the stego slide. You know, the other day, I did some drawing, by the way, on the topic of just having a lot of different, like, hobby exertion than usual lately. I did a little sketching recently. I can't unveil what yet because it's a surprise for a certain friend. But I know after this weekend I could show it off, which will be fun. It was very silly. It was not a serious drawing by any means. But to be fair, when do I ever do serious drawing? I'm not good enough to be serious. Well, not that you have to be good to be serious, but I don't know. I haven't particularly tried to become like really good at art. I think part of it is not having a tablet means that I can't, or like a good tablet anyway, makes it very difficult to do digital art, and I don't have that much of a use to get better with conventional art. Like what I normally use like traditional art for is I'll just like do pencil sketches of like, if I'm doing a song cover or something like that, a lot of the time I'll like sketch out like poses, outfits, backgrounds, like I'll sort of make very like rudimentary art references myself so that the artist doesn't have to go quite as much on vibes and they can have some sort of like visual idea. Even if I'm not that good, you know, even stickmen can help, and I'm a little beyond stickmen. I'm like slightly ahead of using sticks. Not a lot, but you know, a little goes a long way. Artists are really chill people, so. Usually you say jump, they say how high, and then they just kind of go. That's one of the things that I think has been so cool about getting more down the hole of like having opportunities to work with different kinds of artists through VTubing, is there are like so many people who are just down to like do stuff, you know what I mean? Like in terms of audio, in terms of like video, art, whatever. A lot of artists, it's like you don't even have to give them like that specific of a rep, and they'll just sort of like clock a vibe and do their thing, and it works like 99% of the time, which is awesome to me. Because you wouldn't expect that much like self-expression when it comes to like covers and stuff, because as a medium, you're like sort of just rehashing what somebody else made with like just a little bit of your own flair, you know, just having it be your own voice instead of the original is already like a significant amount of the new content most of the time. Some people are like really interesting and they'll like rearrange a song into like a whole different genre and then do that. So like making a metal cover of a not metal song, or like lo-fi. I don't know that lo-fi is as common with vocals. I don't know, like a jazz arrangement, rock arrangement, like stuff like that of pop songs usually. That kind of stuff is really creative and really cool. But a lot of the time, you know, you're more or less just kind of re-performing it in your own way. And yet still, like, you know, people do it like, they really make it their own sometimes, which is dope. I love that. Through, like, every step of the process. Like, I'm really excited for when a couple of the things I'm working on right now come a little bit further along, because I got some really cool, like, stuff with some artists that I'm working with sort of going on right now. It'll come over the next, like, few months. And it's always one of those things where it's like, I wish that I could share, but at the same time, no spoilies. I got a new cover coming in like a week anyway. That's good enough. And I think the tutorial video is gonna be cool. Even though, like, I'm primarily making the tutorial video for cover making this time with, like, newer VTubers in mind, I think that it'd be interesting as a watch for some of you guys who are just, like, interested. I don't know. I assume the people who are interested in watching my stuff probably listen to VTuber music in some capacity, or like Utaite or whatever. Like, you know, you probably peeped a song cover or two, you know, especially that aren't mine, but even if not otherwise, maybe mine. And it can be interesting because I think that it is one of the, like, most unanimous experiences of, like, the genre, and at the same time, the behind the scenes is oftentimes not shown, like, at all. Like, most people don't know what goes into stuff, which I don't think is necessarily wrong, because a lot of it is very tedious work. You would be surprised at the amount of manual labor that goes into doing art. Like, I don't know that manual labor is, like, the most accurate term. The reason I call it manual labor is there's a lot more, like, brainless work than you would expect for what's supposedly, like, very specialist stuff, right? Oh, you can climb here onto the ladder, kind of. Never mind, you can't. Parkour, you can do it! Get on the monkey bars! Okay, no, I don't think I can use the monkey bars. Why am I so weak, man? Maybe, aren't I, like, suited out? I got gloves and stuff, I think. I should be getting up there and doing the monkey bars like a real Chad. I feel like monkey bars would be fun to use. I haven't used monkey bars in, like, over 10 years. Oh, can I climb? Oh, okay, I can get in from here. And now we can get at the underside of all of these, like, monkey bars a little bit more easily. It's kind of ranged. Yeah, I can't shoot all of it from that far away, but I can get the closer side a bit more easily from here. But yeah, I'm gonna end up making a short to go with the tutorial as well, so the actual return of Twi shorts for the first time in God knows how long. I mean, if I'm gonna go through the effort of making, like, a whole, like, video essay tutorial thing, I might as well make a short form version. I think, anyway. But I hope you guys will find it interesting, and I hope you'll enjoy the cover as well. Because I did try to keep it a bit on the simpler side in terms of production as well, you know? I think that one of the biggest pitfalls of, like, VTubing is that it can seem, like, very intimidating to get into when you're, like, new and you don't know what you don't know, right? It feels like everybody is doing, like, crazy artistic projects 24/7, and you're sat here like, how do I make a YouTube thumbnail, bro? What am I doing? It's one of those things that you just kind of develop over time, but I haven't seen that many people go out of their way to make, like, a comprehensive guide for something like that. have to do to get the monkey bars clean? Because there's still like so much of this left that's dirty. Am I supposed to somehow get on top of the monkey bars? I mean, in real life, I could easily do that, but in this, I don't know if I can. Let me see. Maybe I can like parkour it. Oh! Oh, wait, I'm the goat. There we go. Yo, this reminds me, actually, there was a game that I used to play when I was a kid on this like really small playground area that was near where I lived, where we had pretty much like one of these like mini playground buildings like this, but probably like only like these two like houses, not the left part with the slide and everything. We'd have like a little thing like this, and we would get a ball, like a dodgeball or something like that. And the challenge was that you'd have one person on the ground who was trying to hit somebody with the ball, and everybody else had to stay on the playground. Like, you couldn't get off of the structure, and you had to try and not get hit with the ball. And so we would play that game, and I had this one friend who would always like jump up onto like the roof of the playground, which was very much slanted and not safe. But he would do it anyway. He did not care. And it was funny. I don't think he ever did fall, for what it's worth. I don't think he ever actually fell off of the roof. That just reminded me. It was like a fun... I don't know if I would call it like King of the Hill, because it's not really, but it was like, you know, something kind of like that, where you're like switching on and off of trying to control being on the playground. I was doing a kind of similar thing with my friends recently. I was playing Rocket League for the first time in ages. I almost never play Rocket League anymore, but I used to grind the game a ton. Like, I have over 3,000 hours in Rocket League. I know life that game. But and they're better than me, by the way. My friends were crazy at like every game, bro. I never lie to you guys about that stuff. My friends were genuinely some of the biggest sweats I've ever met in my life. Through and through. But we were playing like, I don't know what you would call, I think you would just call it King of the Hill usually, but it's like you do a 1v1, but when somebody gets scored on, they switch out with whoever's like spectating, and you just try and see who can score the most goals throughout the game. And there was one game where I didn't come in last, and that was huge. That was so epic. I don't know, it just made like the impact of like every time I would score a singular goal of any kind against my friends like that much more fun, because nobody's expecting it, you know. I feel like I just permanently have that like unsuspecting aura when it comes to sports. So it's always fun when I can like actually do something like impressive that people aren't expecting. Like, I remember I was thinking back to my gym classes last night, because I used to be hella out of shape, you know. I was bad at like every sport. I remember at the end of the year we had to do like a fitness assessment, where the gym teacher would be like watching over you as you exercise for like a minute at a time and like counting for you. And so I had to see how many push-ups I could do in a minute for one of these like tests, and I clocked in 4 push-ups. in a whole minute I got 4 whole push-ups, dude. And he was kind of being a stickler with form, but even so, like, you know, nowadays I'm sure I could probably get like 20 at least, you know what I mean? But the point is, I was not like a sporty kid back in the day. But I remember back in like gym class, I think it was like basketball, nobody was looking out for me, and I couldn't actually shoot. So what I would do is I would just try to be annoying on defense, even though I wasn't doing anything like particularly crazy. I would just like run up and like try and like do anything. Confusion strat. If I don't know what I'm doing, neither do they. Maybe I'll swat the ball out of their hand like when they don't expect me to go for it or something. And it worked one time, and like everybody popped off, even though I was just like quiet and like I didn't have any friends particularly in that class. It was just nobody expected me to get the ball off of somebody. I don't even think I did anything with it after. It was just the fact that I blocked somebody one time while they were trying to dribble was like astonishing. And moments like that are honestly so hype. It kind of makes me wish that I was more of a sports kid. Because when you like hit something and like a whole group of people pops off with you, that's just like so fun. It's so like, it's just like, you can't help but smile when you do stuff like that, you know what I mean? You know, I don't know what it was about, but I remember right before stream, I went to the bathroom and I could like faintly through the like ceiling, I heard my upstairs neighbor do like the most generational pop off of my life. I don't think I've ever heard him like pop off like that either. It was so funny because like, as far as I know, it's like a adult guy who has like a wife and a kid. I don't know how old he is. I just know that he has at least a girlfriend and a kid upstairs. And so usually if I hear anything, it's their child like crying or screaming, or it's them like watching sports, and you'll hear them pop off a bit. You hear the guy mostly pop off a bit sometimes when hockey season is going on, if something big happens. But I don't know, today it was like such a like visceral, heartfelt pop off. Like you could feel the energy, like the release of stress. I feel like it must have been something he accomplished and not just him watching something. Cause I don't know, it sounded like his entire universe shifted. The energy in the fucking "let's go" that I heard from upstairs, bro. Oh man. Yo, everybody likes to dunk on the upstairs neighbor trope. And it can be annoying when your upstairs neighbor is like an elephant. But it is really funny sometimes to hear your neighbors, like, when they don't think that they're gonna be heard. Cause like, I never even interact with my upstairs neighbor. I have no idea what they look like. But it's just funny to hear them through the walls sometimes. That being said, I constantly worry about if I'm being a terrible downstairs neighbor every time that especially when I'm like singing for like hours at a time and I'm like belting everything, or you know, like I think that's mostly the big one for me that I always think about. Like, I'm lucky that my parents are chill about it, because I know that they can hear me through the walls. Sometimes, I kid you not, sometimes I'll be talking about shit on stream, and like my dad will like bring it up when I get off stream because he could hear me, and I was like, what the? I didn't know that you could hear me. But now I do. Now I've come to expect it. Nothing secret, but that's fine, because my dad is chill like that. But you know, I wonder, like, because our walls are thin enough that like the people I'm like immediately living with can hear me, I wonder to what extent my upstairs neighbors hear me. Because, like, I don't hear them that much, to be honest. Like, the soundproofing feels like it's better, or maybe it's just that the sound isn't traveling as much vertically. I don't know exactly which, but always one of those things to kind of keep in the back of the mind as food for thought. Not like it's gonna stop me, but it's one of those things where I think about, like, one of the main reasons it would be super dope if I ever did own a house, which I'm gonna be so for real with you guys. I don't think there is gonna be a day. I don't think I'm ever gonna have it like that to buy a house. But if that day were to ever come, it would be so awesome to not have to worry about annoying other people with my own noise. Like, just no longer ever have to be self-conscious about that. That'd be so sick. But to be honest, like, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm ever gonna have it like that. I saw for the first time in a super long time, Casually Explained got dropped in my homepage on YouTube earlier. And so I was watching his video. It was Casually Explained Billionaires. And I think there was one point where he was like, if you own a house, that's how you know that someone's a millionaire. And they're like, they're only a millionaire or whatever. And I was like, yeah, that's true. That's how it be nowadays. I mean, to be honest, if you own a house in this economy, you're probably, or there's a decent chance you're a multi-millionaire, I feel like. Maybe that's just because the housing prices in Canada are so egregious. Like, it might not, I don't think it's quite that bad in the US, because our dollar is cheaper too, right? That's another factor. But even so, it's one of those things where it's like, damn, man, that's crazy, you know? Like, I don't know. Maybe the housing market will crash, and then there will be affordable housing built, and then I'll take over. I'll own my own place. And we'll hold a giant Twi party. What would we even do at a Twi party? I don't fucking know, man. We all watch Uma Musume racing and scream when our horse girl wins. Thoughts? Just a big Uma Musume watch party, bro. That'd be kind of fire, though, I won't lie. I remember I saw a clip like that of like some guys who were visiting an anime convention and were hanging out at a bar after the fact, and they were just fucking playing Uma Musume at the bar and popping the fuck off. Which, like, I'm not gonna lie, getting drunk and playing Uma Musume with a bunch of people sounds really fun. Like, it reminds me of my favorite drinking experience, which was the time that I went to a bar and the entire bar was playing bingo while getting drunk. Like, we need to normalize doing stupid shit while doing alcohol instead of just drinking alcohol being the stupid shit that you're doing. Like, it's so much funnier if you do it the other way. Yo, this hose has like a spinny nozzle. Look at that. It's like all swirly. If I jump, can I reach the top part more easily? I can't tell if that's working or not. Maybe. Come on. Get cleaned, please. Maybe it'll be easier if I climb up and like stand on the monkey bars. Yeah, this is the way. Very safe. I'm sure this would be OSHA approved. Yo, I remember I saw a clip of somebody changing a light bulb at the top of their staircase while standing on a wheeled office chair. And I was like, wow, this person is like truly fearless. That's insane. Like, that's just so unhinged, bro. I've stood on chairs with wheels plenty of time before. I'm not saying that with decent balance you can't do that. But like, dog, at the top of your staircase changing a light bulb, and it was like they were like reaching too, like fully extended arm. I was like, oh my god, I'm about to watch somebody die. Maybe if I like climb here again, and then I jump to this roof and get at this stuff more easily. There we go. There we go. How is tower roof still not clean? Please. I am politely asking for your cleanliness, good sir. Ah! Man, why is it so hard to stay on the playground? I keep falling. I've fallen. And I can't get up. Whatever. I don't think I'm gonna finish this today. I'm both a little tired from working on some other stuff, and also I want to be there when Ada is starting her birthday donathon in like 3 hours. So you guys should definitely check that out. She's also premiering an original song tonight, which is going to be fire. We love VTuber original music in this house. But if you want to check that out, you can check out her donathon here on YouTube, or she's doing it on Twitch as well. I'll be not here tonight. Well, I'll be in like her chat tonight probably, but I'll be around for some of the games tomorrow. Like I said, I don't know that I'm going to be streaming them on my end, but I will be streaming, or like she'll be streaming. I'll be in some of the lobbies. You'll see me around if you want. It'll be fun. She's a really funny streamer. I like hanging out. So definitely check it out later if you're free. You got some time to kill for your Friday night. But I'm pretty tired, so I'm probably gonna call it a little bit short today. Thanks for hanging out with me while I just do some power washing. We'll pick this up again at some point. I'll probably be back, assuming that I'm not streaming any of my POV stuff. I'll be back like one of Monday or Tuesday next week. I don't know if I'll be live myself over the weekend. Maybe I'll decide to just like randomly do a stream like at night or something. We'll see. But that being said, I got a lot of stuff to do over the weekend, like if you include that. So I'll be over on Ada's channel a bit. I'll be out and about. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Friday and a wonderful rest of your weekend. And I'll see you later. Bye. Take care.